OpenAI didn't just launch a mobile app. It launched a way for you to turn your laptop into a remote worker that you can message from anywhere. In this video, I'm going to test 5 real business tasks from the Codex mobile app, show you how it works and how you can utilize this and add this to your workflow. By the end of this video, the question you're going to be able to answer is that, is this useful, or is this just another feature that you see on Twitter that's cool but doesn't really do much in real life? This was OpenAI's answer to Anthropic's dispatch. Also gave you the capability to access local files, access desktop apps, edit documents, clean spreadsheets, and send the finished result back to your mobile device. And what made this really cool is its capability to also perform terminal tasks or terminal actions while you're not in front of your computer. In order to get this started, the first thing that you're going to have to do is you're going to have to download the Codex app. This is one of those additions to their ecosystem that you can actually see the value and the direction that they were trying to go with. So when you first open it, it gives you just a very clear, basic use chat. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you're already watching this video, you've already had a play around with Codex. Now, if you want to download and get the mobile app going, what you need to do is you need to download ChatGPT for mobile. Once you download ChatGPT for mobile, you're going to have to go through some basic authorization processes. Once you go through the authorization process, you go into Codex. From here, it just shows up just like a normal chat. If you want to start a new chat, you just click the chat button at the very bottom, and it gives you the new chat. One thing to note is that if you want to change the folders, you click here and don't choose a project or add new folder, whatever you want to do. It is also going to correspond with your Codex workspace. When you first download this and when you first download the app, there is a little icon that comes up on the left-hand side. On that left-hand side, it's going to give you the process in which you're going to connect your Codex with your mobile application. Using this is very simple. You've got your plugins. So your plugins are the applications that you can use within Codex. And you also have your skills. One thing to note is there are specific plugins that you can use. However, it is limited based upon those specific plugins or MCPs or CLIs that you can use. You are limited to Mac OS apps only. There's some things that you will not be able to access, things like Keynote, Final Cut Pro, Logic Pro, Photoshop, those types of applications. So they have to be desktop only apps. Local file ops are possible, and you'll be able to do things like battery name, CSV file deduping, that kind of stuff. So ideally, you have a secretary or you have someone who has full access to your Mac while you're not in front of your Mac. The good thing about this is you can add multi-app chains, and this is things like open a file in downloads, paste in a web form, and also perform tasks within your browser. So things that you cannot perform on your mobile device, you'll be able to perform through Codex on your mobile device. Now, if we just go back to the Codex application, it's within itself, you have your files that you can also use, which also align with the phone that you're using. So if you're working on that file, working on that folder, we can work on that folder. Let's just use an empty folder purely for the purpose of this demonstration. Now, Codex is not just for coders. Okay, it gives the simplicity of Codex within itself. It is being geared towards more consumers. There's still some technical capabilities, or you do still have to be some sort of a little bit techie for you to understand in terms of adding those plugins and using skills and all those other elements. This has the ability to click, navigate menus, enter, and do mostly tasks within the Mac applications within itself. But things like entering passwords and all this kind of stuff, they're locked intentionally. So let's just go through and let's just perform a few demos. So if you want to start the new chat, you start a new chat through there. If you want to tag a plugin, you can go @ sign and you'll be able to tag a plugin. So if you're using Notion, you add Notion. And if you want to use the skill, you go / and add skill. But it also gives you the capability to go plan, standard, which the standard command is it goes for fast mode. If you want to change the intelligence level and the model level, you're just going to click this high button here. It also gives you the capability to use voice. Obviously, you're going to be using this on your mobile device, screenshots, and everything that you're usually able to do on your ChatGPT application, you're going to be able to do on your phone. It's going to be run through Codex. The first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to ask it to give us a custom client proposal. So we'll go through our Codex app, the application. So this will be on your mobile device. And that's just a very basic prompt. If you're using this, there's some things that you do have to go through, which will just be, there's some prompts that it's going to ask you to do. Cool. So as you can see, it's actually performing tasks accordingly. So while that's doing that, okay, let's go through, let's do all the other tests. So that shows you some of the limitations that you can't actually do on here. So which you can't see the HTML on the actual PC, you'd be able to see it. So what we will do, let's see if we can ask it to give us a mobile friendly version. So here's the second prompt. I'm just going to ask it to go through my downloads folder, find me the CSV file named this, and I'm going to ask it to clean up the CSV file and send it to me. While that's working, let's see if we can also spin up another one, which is go through my folders, my downloads folders, and rename these specific files in order. So as you're out and about, it gives you a pretty good amount of desktop control. So things that you'll not be able to do on your computer, you'll be able to do on your mobile device. If you go in here, you can actually see the chats that are actually working and how they're all working at the same time. So let's go through and let's do one more. Here's another one just to find the most recent PDF receipts on .folder, which is something I understand a lot of people have to do on a daily basis and actually upload it. You can do it on your phone, which is something definitely. If you have a variety of receipts, you can just get it to do it for you. And so here, this is the proposal that you would be able to see if you were on your PC. Let's see if it's going to be able to show us a mobile friendly version, which I don't think it is. So unfortunately is not. So what you do in that sort of situation is you'd send yourself a PDF version of a draft. And put this in a PDF version. You're just going through all this other stuff. If there's something that needs approval, it'll tell you. If you're working within a specific file or folder, you can go through your new chat. Instead, you'll go full access. So you give full access and you give it full computer control. It's not going to particularly prompt you or request approval from you. So we'll just go approve. Keep in mind, as I'm approving all this stuff, it is also being approved on my actual Codex, which make things a lot easier, especially if you're a businessman or you're someone who's very busy all the time and you want specific files, specific folder, you need things organized. Instead of you having to go through a whole bunch of this stuff or contacting someone to get it all done for you, you can just go through and get it done through the Codex app. One thing I will say though, is that it is quite more efficient and it is faster than Dispatch. You can't see the CSV from here. So when the task is finished, let's say you're doing a bunch of tasks, it'll tell you that it is finished. So there we go. So now we have a PDF version of the proposal that was made for us. All of that can be done through your application. And once you approve it and everything is ticked off, you just get it to send it off to whatever. Let's say that you need to send it off to a client or you need something. So let's just check that this has cleaned up the CSV. So it opened the CSV in my downloads folder, emptied a few rows, and fixed a couple of stuff. So this was the CSV that I asked it to work on. It deduplicated it, removed a few rows. Let's just have a look through Apple Mail. There you go. So it did all of that, and it sent us the copy on our email. So let's compare them. What it did is it went through the folder, it went through the downloads folder, went through the CSV, removed the duplicates. We've got a few duplicates in here, and it removed the duplicates in there as well. So you can see the value in that because it would be able to access your folders and perform actions and perform tasks for you. This is the proposal that we wanted to see. As you can see, the proposal is under HTML, which we got it to email for us. And as everything is going through, if there's something that's awaiting, it's going to go through and request approval. This is our downloads folder with the tracker CSV, and we asked it to generate a weekly report from a desktop and email it to me. So let's have a look through our email. So that would be the final email that it should have sent us. That was the final email, which was the pipeline, which is awesome. So it performs 4 tasks for you as you go through. This was this third task. So this is the task that we asked it to complete, which was find the PDF receipt and upload the PDF receipt for me. It is actually performing the actions for you. It goes through the browser, it runs the browser. As it runs the browser, it performs the dedicated action. What I really genuinely appreciate about this is that you can tell that it creates its own work tree and it spins up a variety of agents or corresponding agents in order for it to actually complete the goal. In comparison to Claude Code or Claude Desktop or Cowork, you would have to be a little bit more hands-on. It is not as well orchestrated, or it is not as intuitive. It's going through my files. It finds the file. Once it finds the file, gives full access, finds the file, it uploads the file. Once it uploads the file, which is the invoice that we asked it to perform. So that was the first prompt. It went through the Claude Chrome. So what you are going to have to do is you're going to have to install the Codex extension. When you first use it, it'll prompt you all the way through the process. So we're just going to say submit. There you go. You have it submitted the receipt. You can imagine what we have just completed within a couple of minutes. You can only envision what you'd be able to accomplish once you get a hang of this and you actually you have an understanding of how to use it and the limitations of what you're actually using. There are skills that you can add to your stack called YOLO, which ideally gives it the capability to think on its own. In the potential where they had to create a PDF, it would upload that onto Vercel. Once it uploads that onto Vercel, it would be able to do it for a couple of things. To be totally honest, there's some things that it does totally take the cake. In comparison to Dispatch, I found that it's a little bit faster and it's a little bit more intuitive, and you don't have to reiterate the work trees. You can tell there's a work tree and there's an ability to spin up other agents based on what you're trying to convey. It's a lot easier for you to get some things done. You would still have to reiterate, or it's going to take a few more tries in order for you to get complex things complete. The tokens do accumulate quite quickly. OpenAI's tiers for token usage have gotten quite generous recently. In comparison to how I have been using my Codex and Claude Code, I've been hitting my token limit significantly quicker and significantly faster in comparison to Codex. Sandbox apps are blocked automatically. That's a safety feature that you have to appreciate because you don't really want it to start accessing your banking records or it's having full access to all your accounts. So you would have to pre-authorize some of those accounts before you actually give it the capability to do that. Then once you pre-authorize, then it's going to be able to perform such tasks, such as Google Chrome, or giving it the access to all those plugins. So you would have to pre-authorize some of those things. The things that you normally can't do on your phone, you'll be able to do on your phone now. Things like accessing your local files, a work tree of automations or a work tree of actions. It's going to be able to do all of that for you, much like how we scanned the downloads folder, performed tasks on the CSV. Once we performed tasks on the CSV, it sent us an email. Things that you can't actually engage with are apps that are not local to Mac, which would be Keynote, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut Pro. You'd probably have to build a skill when it comes to something like editing or creating YouTube thumbnails. You'd be using a skill. Is it worth it for you to add to your stack? Should you install it? Do I think that it's worth your time? If it saves you 30 minutes to an hour every single day, compounding over a week, that's 7 to 8 hours. Just based on pure arithmetic, the time that you're spending traveling, it's going to be significantly more useful, or you're going to be able to perform tasks that you usually are not able to because you would be limited to your mobile device. It is an absolute game changer if you touch local files daily. However, if you live on browser apps anyway and you can perform a lot of those actions on your phone, I think it's a little bit of an overkill. I do genuinely think it's one of the first agentic tools that earns its keep for non-developers. You can see how this is being more steered towards the consumer, whereas with Claude, it is more towards some people who are a little bit more tech savvy. If you found value in this, join ourschool.com, subscribe, and keep posted for videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Deuces.